What if I told you there was an Anthropology audio drama? Crazy, right? So, just like most things that we watch here on this channel, I know basically nothing. About this. Hopefully, it won't be absolutely disgustingly terrible. Jason the Human. It would be written by a human, wouldn't it? Filthy humans.
Are you gonna eat that?
I am
Honestly,
going to eat that.
Lyra,
Sorry, but it's just been sitting there and...
we just got to Sugar Cube Corner 5 minutes ago.
The cake
Excuse
is good.
me if I was a little shocked by how you inhaled yours.
Coming here had become
Cake
a
is
tradition,
good.
something the two of them did every weekend. Mr. and Mrs. Cake were some of the best bakers in Ponyville, if not all of Equestria. For ponies who
Got a
both loved
narrator.
sweets, it was a natural hangout.
You think cake and candy are some kind of art form, don't you?
It's what I make
You could
for a
make
living.
art.
Of course there's an art to it.
True.
Anyway, I
you
finally
could
got a
also
job
just
interview
make art
scheduled
out
with
of
the
them.
owners, so before we know it, I might even be working here.
That's nice. Will we get
Working
free
with Pinkie
cake
Pie?
then?
Shut up, phone.
Anyway, I heard you were invited to play at the Grand Galloping Gala this year. That's quite an honor.
Yeah. Can you believe it? I'm not
Grand
too good
Galloping
for formal
Gala.
events, though.
I
I love the
can't
Grand Galloping Gala.
imagine why. Let's hope it doesn't turn out to be a disaster like last year. You
What
heard
do you
about
mean,
that,
like
right?
last year?
I never would have thought Fluttershy had it in her. It's always the quiet ones.
So, have they told you what
Season
pieces
one
you'll be
finale.
performing? Do you know what you'll be wearing?
I don't know, maybe Rarity will...
Incoming!
They barely heard the buzz of the scooter approaching
Pinkie
before it
Pie?
slammed into the
Oh,
table.
it's
Bonbon's
Scootaloo?
cake was propelled directly into her face. Lyra attempted unsuccessfully to stifle
Get
a
smoked,
laugh.
idiot. Get smoked, Bonbon.
Scootaloo, are you sure that's gonna be your special talent?
Bonbon gaped at the three fillies, her face covered in frosting.
What can I
Scootering
say?
is an art.
Sometimes it's better to finish it quickly. By the way,
Everything is an art.
something
This table is an
right
art.
There.
Sorry about that. I was going so fast that time. Now I just need to work on my turns.
No problem.
Turns are an art.
Yes, no problem at all.
Lighten up. They're just kids. Remember what it was like trying to get
Disgusting
beaten when you were that
kids.
age? I don't blame them for crying all this crazy stuff.
Hey, we never asked you how you got your cutie mark. Your talent is music, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, it
Huh.
took me a long time to get my cutie mark. It was back in Philly school when I lived in Canterline.
Yeah,
I was
Lyra,
one
how
of the
did you
last
get
in my
your
class to
cutie
get
mark?
mine, you know.
Lying awake in bed one night, Heartstrings, she'd been calling herself Heartstrings back then, had heard her parents talking about her.
You know that
Uh-oh.
Heartstrings has been struggling in school.
Some
always
unicorns just take
school.
longer to learn magic, that's all.
It's always
Things will come
school.
to her in time.
But what if it doesn't? It's been too long now. No magic, no cutie mark. What if it's all because she's...
Heartstrings is a unicorn. It's that simple. It'll all come in time.
Of course, even though she was a filly, Heartstrings knew what they had been talking about. Her mother was a Pegasus, but her dad was a unicorn.
Lyra's not a unicorn, right? Lyra's not? Wait a minute. Am I stupid? Wait a minute. I forget. How did I forget that Lyra was a unicorn? Literally my favorite background pony, and I forgot. I forgot she was a unicorn. Oh my god, man. That's a Mr. MLP moment right
Unicorn. She had a horn, but she had never been able to use it. The other unicorns in her class had already mastered things like levitation, but she couldn't even lift a feather. She had to agree with her mother. What if she just couldn't learn magic? Her teacher, Indigo Spark, said that it didn't matter. If a pony had a horn, they were a unicorn. There wasn't such a thing as a half unicorn. But
Half unicorn,
this wasn't the only
interesting.
time she had overheard her parents have the same conversation,
Oh,
and she
yes, I
still
have
couldn't
had a horn.
focus any power through her horn. Cutie marks and magic were still on Heartstrings' mind the next day in class. They'd been brought to the music room instead of their usual classroom.
Today, we'll be
Ooh.
working with musical
Music.
instruments.
I love
I'd like
music,
all
man.
of you to pick something out. We're just practicing today, so don't worry about sounding
Trumpet.
good.
Heartstrings
Drums.
tagged along with the rest of her classmates. Would she be any good at this? It looked like there was a tuba, too big. A xylophone. That had a
Too
lot of
big.
keys. How would she
Womp,
handle that one?
womp,
There were some drums.
womp.
Those would be easy.
Ah, yes,
drums.
Bluebell. That one's called a lyre. It's one of the more difficult instruments. It takes a lot of concentration to focus on moving each string to play even a simple song.
How does it
Oh,
work?
damn.
Focus your magic
How
on
does
each
it
string
work?
and adjust the tension in order to make
I'm
them
sorry.
vibrate and create sound.
Bluebell had already started, and what came out wasn't exactly music, in the strictest definition. Heartstrings winced at the notes, and turned to look at the cello. Maybe that one would work. No,
The
it was
cello.
too big.
I'm gonna pick a different one. Something easier.
Most of the instruments had already been taken. So much for drums, Heartstrings thought. Wandering around
Damn.
the music room, between other young unicorns that were already trying out their new instruments,
I would be first on the
Heartstrings
drums,
finally took
man.
a closer look at the lyre. No way.
Or the
That
piano.
one would definitely be
Or the
too
electric
hard.
guitar.
Besides, that explanation had made no sense. How were you supposed to create music if you moved each string by itself? If you plucked them in a sequence, moving down the row, it was less a matter of moving each string and more of something moving through them, plucking each one. A few notes played, soft but clear. A few more. It was beginning to sound like a simple melody. Nothing too complicated, but
Dude,
musical all the
Lyra's
same.
gaming.
Heartstrings closed her eyes, focusing on the notes. Yes, this was how a lyre was meant to be played.
Hi, Heartstrings. You really seem to have a knack for that.
Her eyes snapped open. The whole room had gone quiet. She tried to look at the horn on her forehead and saw the edges of a lime green glow. It matched the glow surrounding the lyre. She slowly backed away from the lyre, feeling the eyes of every pony in the room watching her.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about. That was truly impressive.
I just thought there was probably a different way to play it. Simpler.
There's nothing
Huh.
wrong. Now, does
Well,
every pony
then.
have an instrument chosen?
Oh wow, it looks like you're good at instruments. Wish I was good at instruments.
Let's begin.
I'm not mad.
Heartstring stared at the golden instrument, and with some effort, managed to get it to float next to her. She was ecstatic. She felt like getting up and running straight home to tell her parents, but class had already started. While the other colts and fillies struggled to create anything musical, Heartstrings was already grasping how to play this instrument. It was like she was born to play. When class was over, she noticed something
I'm
different
not
about
jealous,
herself,
man. I'm not jealous.
namely on her
You're
back
jealous.
leg. To say the least, her parents
Are
were
you
pleased when
kidding
she
me?
got home that
Cord?
afternoon. Heartstrings thought her mother was going to faint after she saw her daughter's new
Smack this
cutie
cord.
mark, and she almost did, after hearing a bit of what Heartstrings could do. Her father signed her up for music lessons right away. They were saying she was a prodigy.
Music lessons.
Maybe she was. Heartstrings didn't really care either way. The excitement of being able to do magic was enough for her. It finally looked like Heartstrings was going to grow up into a perfectly normal unicorn.
Is it
Perfectly
true
normal,
what they
you
say
say?
about ponies like that? When their parents are two different kinds of ponies, I mean. I know it doesn't happen often, but you're great with magic, Lyra.
Who knows? It took some practice, but I'm alright now. It just goes to show that everybody gets their cutie mark eventually. I'm sure you'll all find yours soon enough.
You know, when I was about
When
your age,
will I
that was the first
find
time I ever
mine?
learned how to use an oven.
Hey,
And
music
Oven.
might work. Maybe we should try
Oven.
getting our band back together. Come on, Crusaders.
Dude, we're getting the band
Three of
back
them
together.
disappeared in a yellow, orange, and white blur.
what?
I
I
ain't
didn't
got
get a
rid
chance
of
to
them.
tell my cutie mark story. Kids and their
Nobody
short
cares about
attention
you,
spans.
Bonbon. I'm sorry.
Lyra!
There was a fork hovering in the air in front of Lyra's face, and she was inspecting it with curiosity. She turned at the sound of her name, and the fork dropped to the ground.
Huh?
Oh, never mind. Let's go home.
Man, I feel like listening to Phineas and Ferb music now.
Music played softly in the distance, a familiar sound in the darkness. Did she know this song? She couldn't name it. Then, a figure. But it wasn't a pony, that much was clear. It was...
What's happening?
yes. Lyra started to move towards it for a better look. The darkness was fading away until she could start to make out the details.
She
She
dreaming?
had just a glimpse before.
She hit the bedroom floor with a thud, giving
if
her
she
a
was
rude awakening
dreaming.
from the dream. But she
I
still
was
had
right.
the image in her mind. Lyra stared up at the ceiling, her back on the floor and her legs sticking straight up in the air. The covers from her bed were still partially draped over her.
It all makes sense now. How did I not see this before?
This had to be documented. Picking herself up off the floor, Lyra raced down the hall and found her journal in the office. Levitating it
Journal.
down from the shelf, she quickly started sketching with the nearest quill she could find.
Lyra? I heard a crash. What are you doing?
They
You heard a
designed it.
crash.
It's meant for them to play, not us. It all makes so
What?
much sense.
Bonbon shook her head and watched over her roommate's shoulder. Some kind of figure was taking shape. It was holding a lyre in what seemed to be
Your
arms?
human obsession.
The
is
shape of the body
coming.
wasn't one that Bonbon had ever seen
It's
before.
forming.
Maybe similar to a baby dragon like the one that lived with Twilight Sparkle, but the limbs were elongated.
The strings are so much easier to plug if you have fingers. I think it's similar to how I play it, actually.
How do you know what
Imagine
fingers
while I'm
are?
doing it, at least. They're too close together to play very well with hooves. And it wouldn't make much sense for ponies to design an instrument that can only be played with magic.
Lyra, is this another one of your theories about those...
Humans.
Humans! Of course!
Humans.
Human invented lyres! Can you believe it? I've had their work on my flank for years and I didn't even realize it.
You're sure?
How long have you been studying
You
humans,
actually
Lyra?
think that this was invented by some kind of a... What was it again?
If you know where to look, you would realize that humans left their work all over equestrian civilization.
Huh.
Ponies weren't the first to establish society. It's all because
Huh.
of humans, and we're just borrowing it.
Bonbon stared at Lyra, not understanding how any pony could be awake and
We're
so
not the
energetic
best.
at 3 in the morning.
We're not the
And
best.
she was on one of her human rants again. Not that Bonbon had any idea what a human was, but apparently Lyra had a strange obsession with them. Some kind of obscure mythical
Guys,
being
I'm
that
a
was
human,
referenced
right?
in some old books. And
I
that's all
think
they
I'm a
were,
human.
a myth. No pony had
Finn
ever
the
seen a real
human.
human before.
Just go to bed.
Lyra's grin vanished and she looked back at her drawing. She had put as much detail as she could into the way the hands held the instrument and the way the fingers moved along each individual string. It all seemed to work so well. There had been less attention to the face and the rest of the body, just a rudimentary torso and legs. Already the details of the dream were fading from her mind. It wasn't the first dream Lyra had about humans. They happened sporadically, usually in groups. She could expect several more hazy, indistinct dreams over the next few nights. Her journal was filled with as much as she could remember
Interesting.
from them.
I know.
It's kind of like mean, cause like when I see like I get like spurts of dreams, like I have like a dream. I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna be having dreams for like the next week or so, and then I just stop having dreams for a while until they come back. Most dreams, I don't. Most of like when I'm like getting those like sporadic dreams, like okay, dream every night, maybe multiple dreams a night. I don't really like after I wake up. I do remember them, but I do eventually just kind of forget them because they're not really memorable enough or weird enough or interesting enough. I had a really long dream, one of the longest dreams, like literally the longest dream I've ever had in my life. Like, say a month ago, a few weeks ago. It was crazy, man. But I'm not gonna go on that.
Oh,
rant.
humans
I'm
used
not
to
gonna,
exist.
I'm not gonna go on
Maybe
that.
not anymore, but they were real.
She took one last glance at the figure she had drawn, playing a lyre as she herself often did. But this was the right way to play one, the way it had been intended. Then she closed the cover and lifted the book back onto the shelf. For the rest of the night, Lyra couldn't remember if she had any more dreams.
Well, that's the end. Well, they got Emogak in here. I know Emogak. You got Sage, don't know Sage. Michaela, don't know Michaela. Bluebell, don't know Heartstrong. Indigo Spark, don't know Giles. Don't know Oliver. Don't know Cap. I think I know Nightfall Studios. Oh, you got Emogak again, it's Lyra. I got Wooten. I kind of know Wooten. I've never really dived into his content. Luke Son Thwomp. Don't know, and I don't know Mads. And I don't know Jason the Human. That was Adventure Time, by the way. I would just sing Anthropology, like just sing the word, but I don't feel like doing it. So get scrubbed, idiots.